The quality that distinguishes leaders is their ability to take pressure. Winston Churchill became a leader in Britain. When the biggest crisis was faced by the country, they looked upon someone who could take the pressure. How do you take pressure? When you struggle. When you struggle and when you have setbacks, you pick yourself up, you resume your struggle. It's eventually you get stronger. Each time you pick yourself up, you get stronger. A leader can only achieve his mission if he conquers his fears. The biggest impediment in the way of people achieving their mission is that they get scared. They get scared of humiliation, failure. A lot of people don't attempt things because they're scared that people will laugh at them. People get scared because they're scared they'll lose their livelihood. I'll lose my job, I might not get a better job, and so they don't take a risk. And then of course, above all, the greatest fear of death. That stops people from chasing their dreams. So fear is the biggest impediment in the way, not just of someone becoming a leader, but from anyone achieving their potential in life. It's fear that stops us along the way, makes us compromise. In my 13 years in politics, so many times I was offered compromises to become part of a government, accept something less. There's always a temptation during bad times to accept something lesser than your dream. And that's where the downward slide, as I said, starts. So fear is, you get scared along the way, people will say you can't do it. The moment you accept in your mind that you can't do it, you won't do it. As long as you do not accept defeat, failure cannot defeat you. You only lose when you give up. As long as you keep pursuing your dream, every setback is a time to analyze where you went wrong. Analyze your mistakes, correct them, pick yourself up, start your struggle again. One of the great attributes of a good leader is his ability to analyze where he went wrong. The ability to be their own best critic. So both teams now are sitting in the dressing room and watching this. So I went deliberately with this t-shirt, and when in Chapel asked me, he said, "Why are you wearing this t-shirt, Imran? I thought you were the lion of Pakistan. This is a tiger." I said, "Look, I'm wearing this tiger because I want my team to play like a cornered tiger. There's nowhere to go except attack." So it's very important, the psychological, the mental side is extremely important. Don't estimate it. And remember, the team never ever listens to what you say. Look at your body language. It was the challenge that brought me back. The fact that it was the West Indies, rather than thinking that we would be destroyed like everyone else, here was I thinking that imagine if we beat them, they are the number one team, we would become the greatest team in cricket history. So that you are as big as the challenges you accept. How does a captain, a leader command respect? The most important thing is integrity. If you do not have integrity, you will not command respect. It's a contradiction in terms that someone who doesn't have integrity, the people will not follow him. Whether it's a leader, national leader, anyone, people must trust you. You have to lead by example. Do not expect your players team to do anything which you don't do yourself. There's no point, if I wanted my team to train, I had to train, I was ahead of them. If I wanted them to observe a discipline that, before a match you have to sleep at 11 p.m., I had to make sure I was in bed at 11 p.m. It's a very simple thing. And it's in any sphere of life. If you do not have the ability to take the big decisions, which need courage. I'll never forget once there was this cricketer who was very bright, always gave excellent suggestions. We were junior at the time and he always was, he would be talking to us and said, if you had done this and this, it would have been better, and the bowling change was this. So we all thought, he's the best man to be the captain. He became the captain. When he became the captain, we used to watch him and he stood there frozen. So I would go and say, what's happening? Why didn't you do this? He said, well, if I do this, that might happen. If I did this, that might happen. He wouldn't take a decision. He could not take the decision. It takes courage. It takes courage to take the big decision. Good leaders always know the downside when they take the big decision. There's no such thing as a risk-free big decision. Every decision carries a risk. But a great leader will know the downside before he takes a risk, and that's bravery. A leader must only be loyal to the cause. At times he will find that there are characters in his team which he doesn't like. which he doesn't get along with, who irritate him, he must work with them. He must never ever put his ego in front of his cause. This is the biggest downfall of people I've seen, even in my own political party. I find the most difficult thing is that people in whoever are leaders at different levels, the biggest problem is that they want personal loyalty rather than loyalty to the bigger cause. And in personal loyalty, they make wrong selections. The team doubts their fairness. They think they are not fair. They lose respect, and you have a hamstrung leader. You cannot have your ego get in the way of your team selection. You cannot have your ego come in the way of your cause. We were a much stronger team. And our captain made two of the most fundamental mistakes in the team selection. One, he underestimated his enemy. Never underestimate your enemy. Number two, he did not get along with this bowler. And he thought because we were so much stronger than them, he didn't need the irritant of having him in the team. So he kicked him out. Didn't take him with him. What happened? I got injured. We did not have another bowler of class, and we lost the match. And then, once you lost the first match, the whole confidence shattered and the team actually lost the series. So, who lost in the end? He had to leave cricket in the end because he couldn't face the criticism after that. The team lost, and that was a big lesson to me. That the same bowler who he found and who by the way was very difficult to handle, later on played with me and did very well under me. So it's the job of the captain to get the best out of his team. But if I was the captain, I would not have been thinking just of the West Indies tour. I would have been thinking that England is touring later on. I should take him along with me, discipline him on this tour, and then get him ready for the next tour. But this is where, in my opinion, when the ego comes in, it is a very, very destructive force in you achieving your objective.